All right, well now it is my job to introduce the main speaker of the evening, Mr. Paul Davis. I met him actually through a voicemail he left on the church line back in January. He says, "Help, I'm headed to jail, rescue me." No, he didn't say it like that. He said, "Hey, I hear you're that pastor that got slammed all over Dallas Morning News for standing up for Donald Trump, and I was at the Capitol and lost my job because they put something on social media." He's going to tell you the story tonight. And from his story and my story, we became great friends and have really walked together this whole entire year. So I'm very proud to turn over the pulpit to you, Brother Paul Davis, and take it away, my friend. It's going to be awesome tonight. Yeah, I'm going to change it to this side. There's your mic. Yeah, there's your mic right there. Yeah, and there's your clicker. And I'll switch it over. Just give me a second.
Oh, yeah, switch it over. Okay, great. All right, well, thank y'all so much for being here. I really feel your pain and the fear that you're facing because I lost my job for taking a stand back in January. And I have been recently, ever since the mandates have been announced, I mean, I have been on the phone with people all day, every day, listening to how scared they are, just how oppressed they feel, just all the frustration of dealing with this. So I'm very happy to be here tonight just to give you some hope that there is a lot of law on your side, that you have rights and that allow you to fight this. So let's dive into it. Just briefly about me, so you know I'm not some hack. You might still think I'm a hack after this, but you know that's okay. Until the mainstream media does. So graduated from UT Law back in 2011. And then I went to work for a large law firm in Houston called Hunt & Andrews Kurth. Back then it was just Andrews Kurth. Went into employment law during my second year and really liked that. It's been one of my favorite practice areas because it deals with people and it's not just some, a contract. I mean, I do a lot of that kind of commercial litigation and stuff too, but I like employment law. This is my favorite type of law to practice. So. And it's just interesting that right now, that's what we need. We need employment lawyers to stand up for the people that are being oppressed. So God just works in mysterious ways. I was drawn to that for a purpose, I think. And so ended up at Clark Hill Strasburg up here in Frisco after several years. And then in June 2020, one of our clients, Goosehead Insurance, offered me an in-house job. And I sometimes like to say it's kind of like lawyer heaven if you work at a law firm, because if you know anything about law firm practice, it can be pretty miserable. You have to keep track of your life in 6-minute increments, and you always feel behind with your billable hours, and it's just not fun. So I was ecstatic to get that job, and it was one of the first times I really enjoyed going into work. I loved my team that I managed. I loved being HR director. It was a great balance of being able to help employees out with their concerns and their issues, while also just promoting the mission of the company to be one of the best insurance brokerages in the country. Of course, my opinion of Goose has changed a little since then, but anyway, I did used to like them. So on January 7th, I was summarily fired after, so basically, just a little bit of background, like many of you, I'm sure, I was watching what was happening with the 2020 elections, and I was just shocked. I was shocked that our courts weren't doing anything about it. I was shocked that our politicians weren't doing anything about it, because it seemed so obvious to me that there was something wrong. And it just seemed like everybody was looking the other way. So when I heard that there was going to be a protest on January 6th, I felt like I had to go. And I've always been very interested in politics, but more of a keyboard warrior. It was always fun to, anytime I posted anything, all of my law school classmates would come out of the woodwork and descend on my Facebook and just rake me over the coals, and it was actually kind of fun because they don't have facts and logic on their side. But I never actually went to any kind of political event. That was really the first one. And so I went up to the Capitol after all the speeches. It was like mid-afternoon. I had to go back to my hotel because it was freezing cold and put on an overcoat. And so by the time I got there, it was, there was no outer barrier, like all that stuff that you saw on the news had kind of already happened. But I walked up and just trying to figure out what was going on, stood on the steps and just yelled, hey, I want to talk to Van Taylor, my congressman. I want him to know what I think about this. Because I've been emailing him, I've been calling him, and he hasn't responded, and I want to see him face to face, just yelling those types of things. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, I was gassed. I was standing with just a bunch of people Nobody had any weapons. There's a lot of women, a lot of old elderly people, very few able-bodied males actually. So I was so shocked when we got gassed because I was just looking around being like, who is a threat to the cops here? This is unbelievable. And I was angry too because I saw old people getting pushed downstairs. The Capitol Police were pushing these people downstairs. Like, it was shocking. It was a shocking scene. So after getting gassed, I made a Instagram story about it. I was still kind of recovering, had tears streaming down my face. I was just like, I can't believe this. I just got gassed at the Capitol. And then I went back up after the smoke cleared and things had calmed down a little bit. And I just said, we're all here demanding an audit. Demand that they audit the ballots, audit the machines. If Joe Biden won, then let's all go on with our lives. But you know what? I don't think that happened. And the fact that they won't do a proper audit should tell you something. And then I uttered the famous words. We're all here trying to get into the Capitol. Of course, I had no idea that people were like actually going in. I was just like, hey, can I talk to my congressman? No idea. So anyway, a journalist ripped my Instagram story. It turns out his wife actually went to law school with me. He used to work for Salon.com, so you know the quality of journalism they have over there. And he did this little tweet about me, which changed my life. So this is Paul Davis. Paul is a lawyer. He's also Associate General Counsel and Director of Human Resources at Goosehead Insurance. And today he stormed the Capitol building in an attempt to stage a coup against the U.S. government and documented it on Instagram. And by the time I saw that, it had almost 500,000 views. By the next morning, it had 1.7 million views. And then you can see Goosehead. Well, I emailed my boss in the morning. I said, I understand there's a Twitter mob against me, but I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't cross any boundaries. I didn't assault anybody. I didn't go into the Capitol. I didn't do any of that. And I have videos to prove it. I met up with somebody up there. I have a witness. They didn't care. They fired me. Didn't even want to hear my side of the story. And posted that tweet. Paul Davis, Associate General Counsel, is no longer employed by Goosehead. And they left that tweet pinned for 6 days to add insult to injury. So if you have Goosehead Insurance, I want to rethink that decision. So anyway, now to get into, so after getting terminated, I started my own firm because I applied for like 80 jobs, and all you had to do was Google me, and I was getting just shredded by the media. There were so many articles about me, and so I was like, I'm gonna have to go out on my own. I have to start my own law firm, and then I got approached by some folks working on an election integrity lawsuit, and they needed a federally licensed attorney who was a litigator, and I happened to fit that bill, and nobody else would do it. So I was like, well, I'm gonna take this case. And it was a little too big for my britches, probably. We sued every single state governor and secretary of state because there were violations of federal election law in every single state. And we thought we would be able to raise all these funds and get all these attorneys, and it would be this big thing, and it just didn't work out, But now I'm free to help y'all with this, and so I'm thankful that all of it happened the way it did, because there's not a whole lot of other attorneys helping with this.